Hello, my name is Rinon and welcome to my guide for the 5th circle of Pandemonium Savage. This is the first encounter in the Abyssos raid tier and hopefully the boss's abilities don't give you brain rot. I believe all of these strategies are realistically executable in Party Finder and they are my picks from what I've seen so far in the week since release. Let's get into it. The encounter will begin with Sonic Howl, which is a raid-wide damage. Following this is your introduction to Ruby Glow, which is a second raid damage that will split the arena into 4 cells. Topaz Stones will drop 2 Toxic Stones and 2 Magic Stones. Toxic Stones grow with a circular poison AoE over time, and Magic Stones will explode after a period, bouncing across the cell walls they are in for heavy damage and a damage down debuff. There are 2 possible patterns here. Watch the Toxic Stones, and the corner in which neither will cover, which is in a cell with no Magic Stones, is going to be the safe spot. Venomous Mass and Toxic Crunch follows this. Both of these are tank busters which apply a dot to the target, and the former applies a vuln to the target, so tank swap in between the 2 hits. 4 circular poison puddles will spawn next, with small circles denoting the progress until they complete. You need 2 players inside each as they complete, so form pairs with healers and range, and melee and tanks. The melee and tanks are going to take the inner puddles, with the other 2 pairs taking the outer puddles. Don't run in too early or you're going to take unnecessary damage. Failing one of these puddles will spawn a slime ad. A tank buster is up next alongside more raid damage. The raid wide will then split the room into 2, and it will spawn 1 magic and 1 toxic stone. The boss will cast Double Rush. Watch his facing and make sure you are behind him. He will dash to the corner, then turn and dash back across the room, causing a knockback and heavy raid damage. Either be knocked into a corner, or my preference is to knock back immunity this mechanic during the cast bar. On top of this, watch the Magic Stone. If the Magic Stone is in the same half of the arena as when you are behind the boss, move through after his first dash. Another Sonic Howl and Ruby Glow signifies the next mechanic. The arena, quarters, and topaz clusters form. Watch the order in which they drop. The movement required to get into the safe spots is always exactly the same. You start in one of the 2 cells no stone dropped in first, and then move to the cell next to it as the first explosion goes off. Then there will be 1 stone that had no stone dropped on it in the 3rd set. Go there. After this, go directly diagonal to the cell in the opposite corner to dodge the final explosions. Next up there are tank busters, which leads into Venom Squall or Venom Surge. Venom Squall is a spread, then 8 AoEs under players, and then 2 4-man light party stacks. And Surge is the reverse of that. We drop the 8 AoEs under the boss. Tail to Claw or Claw to Tail are half room AoEs covering the boss's front or back half. If it's Tail to Claw, you go front and then back, and you do the opposite if it's Claw to Tail. One thing to note is that the claw attack is multiple hits, so you need to delay your movement until the final hit resolves. Davar is next, which is the mechanic that most people struggle with in this encounter. There are only 2 patterns to worry about. Start by going directly opposite the boss's first jump, signified by the fang icon. In the first pattern, the fangs will do a full circle clockwise or anti-clockwise. Go where their 3rd movement takes them and stand there. Move into the first jump as it goes off and wait. As another jump hits the spot where you originally came from, move back into it and keep going along another quarter of the arena. Please note, do not run along the edge as you likely won't have time to avoid the Devour. In the other pattern, after 1 movement the Devour will turn back on itself. If this happens, simply wait for the jump to go off, run into that position and keep running another quadrant. After all of this, 4 toxic puddles will spawn. You are going to want to take 3 puddles as normal, but in the 4th you want to allow the slime to spawn to satiate Proto-Carbuncle's hunger. When this puddle goes off, the closest target will take a 2-man tank buster, so either put 1 tank there and invuln, or share it between the 2 tanks. 2 more raid damages come next, and the arena halves once more and stones form. Find the half of the arena in which only 2 magic stones can be found, and half your assigned light party stack in 1 each. Venom Pool stack damages will drop on each light party of 4 players targeted on the healers, turning the stones into toxic stones. and giving your group respite from the explosion. The boss will then dive to the edge of the room and start either Raging Claw or Searing Ray. Be behind him for Claw, and in the other half of the room for Ray, whilst dodging the growing toxic puddles. Watch out for the following tank busters and raid wide. The arena will once again split into 4, split into light parties, one going west and one going east, and observe which rooms have toxic puddles in them. Have one light party go into each toxic room and wait for the cast bar of Venom Squall or Venom Surge once more. When the magic stones in the rooms next to each group go off, move into them and execute the spreads, puddle drops and stacks there. Following this, 4 2-player share puddles spawn once again, just like at the start of the encounter. Tail and claw attacks follow alongside a tank buster and 2 more raid damages. Magic Topaz Stones drop down into every room here. Find the room in which there are 2 Topaz Stones only, and neither of them are in the middle corner of the room. In this room, have your party split into 2 light parties like before, and use Venom Pool to convert them into toxic stones. Then, dodge into one of the 2 adjacent rooms, which should now be safe after having exploded. Double Rush will follow, and my recommendation once again is to use knockback immunities and heavy defensive mitigation. A tank buster follows this mechanical onslaught, as well as a raid damage and another random Venom Squall or Venom Surge. The encounter begins to wind down now, as the boss will use another Tail and Claw attack in a random order, another tank buster, and the cast of Sonic Shatter. This is the start of Enrage, as multiple raid damages hit the group one after another. Kill or be killed. I hope this guide was at least a little bit helpful, and that soon you will be moving on to P5S progression. Thank you very much for watching, friends. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.